Next on Worcester News tonight, a scary incident in Northborough has people talking about holding drivers accountable who don't stop for school buses. Plus, many in central Massachusetts observing Veterans Day, how people are giving back on the holiday. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. We begin tonight in Northborough, where a near miss at a school bus stop has people talking about holding drivers accountable who don't stop for school buses. Our Rosalind Flaherty joins us now live with more. Rosalind?
Anna, if you turn around during school bus drop-off and pickup times, you've probably witnessed someone driving through the red stop signals. Well, a man in Northborough captured an incident on camera in hopes of bringing awareness to a dangerous situation. A close call for kids getting off a school bus in Northborough. A minivan drives through the bus's stop signals, just missing them.
If they had gotten off the bus a little more earlier, they might have had been gotten hit.
Dashcam video captured the incident last week at about 3:30 in the afternoon on Davis Street. Other cars can be heard beeping for the minivan to stop. Farhan Abrahini lives next to where the kids were getting off the bus. He says his high schooler almost got hit in the same spot last year.
The bus was stopped, the stop sign was on, and as she was crossing the street, the car just went right through.
We showed the video to other neighbors. Mike Marion says they've been trying to make this part of the street a one-way for years to avoid something like this.
That's intolerable. There's nothing more important than our children. They need to be protected.
Their advice is for drivers to slow down and pay attention so a tragedy doesn't happen.
Be careful of children. There's nothing more important than kids. That's your prime responsibility when you're behind the wheel.
These kids don't know much, but we as an adults, we definitely have to pay more attention on the road.
Now, police say they are looking into the incident. Under Massachusetts law, all vehicles must stop for school buses flashing red lights, and a first offender could face a fine of $255. Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
In Woburn, a person was hurt in a serious crash. It happened around 8 o'clock this morning in the area of School Street and Van Norden Road. Police say a delivery truck driver was outside of his truck and was hit when a pickup truck crashed into his vehicle. He was taken to the hospital. Temperatures are dropping at night and shelters are seeing a great need this year. Several work to cater to veterans to make sure there's a roof over their head. Our Brittany Schaefer has more. Brittany?
Anna, Veterans Inc. says the transition from deployment to being back at home is a difficult one and say it's important to help those who served our country.
Veterans Inc. has a saying, and it's they were there when we needed them. We must be there now that they need us.
Worcester organizations are working hard to keep homeless veterans off the streets. Veterans Inc. offers transitional housing for 85 veterans, as well as job training and health and wellness counseling.
They come back after serving their country, and their network of support has changed, and the adjustment can be really hard. So we help them adjust back.
Another place who helps homeless veterans is the faith-based emergency shelter Hotel Grace. It offers a warm meal, bed, and clothing with a 50-person capacity.
We already have, I believe, 42 people last night that came in and stayed. So we're getting closer to the 50 capacity. Last 2 winters, we get almost 50 people every night.
Hotel Grace opened for their first night of the season this weekend. Pastor Richard Gonzalez says the cold temperatures caused them to open earlier than ever this year.
I spent, many years in homelessness and in addiction, so I know how difficult and how dangerous it is to be out there. Even 32 degrees or 34 is still cold, so under that is deadly to a person.
Gonzalez says 2 veterans came to his shelter last night. Veterans Inc. and Hotel Grace say it's important to help those who served our country.
This is people that they put their life in a position of being sacrificed so that we can have the freedom. And now to be in our nation and don't have a place to sleep. So of course they deserve it.
Anyone who has served their country honorably, we owe it to them to be there when they need us, and that's what we do.
Hotel Grace is open on days where the temperature is lower than 32. Gonzalez says they will open Wednesday and will most likely remain open for the rest of the season. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Saluting the service of veterans, many in central Massachusetts observing the holiday by giving back and thanking the men and women who served and continue to serve. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now live with more. Chandler?
Anna, there were multiple events throughout the area to honor veterans yesterday. Today, people visited city memorials in observance of Veterans Day.
Bob Prohl walks through the state's Vietnam Veterans Memorial at Greenhill Park, paying his respects to fallen soldiers. He was a radar maintenance man in the Air Force just before the Vietnam War, but has loved ones who saw combat.
I got one here someplace that was missing in action in Vietnam.
Prohl appreciates the attention veterans get, but says it should extend beyond Veterans Day.
They did protect us, and that's it. Every day.
In Auburn, the Auburn-Webster Lodge of Elks recognizes local veterans with handmade quilts made by the Quilts of Valor Foundation. The Auburn Elks have given dozens of one-of-a-kind quilts the last 4 years.
They want veterans to know that they're getting a big hug while they're out at war, whether they're home, whether they're sick or not.
They also come with a pillowcase to store the quilt or important documents.
As soldiers were getting injured and they started giving the quilts to these soldiers, they needed a place to put their paperwork or their discharge papers.
Peter Bisha runs the Veterans Day luncheon where the quilts are awarded. He remembers getting his own years ago for his service.
1968, in the United States Navy, Vietnam, on a destroyer, Saigon River, and we've seen a lot of stuff that I don't like talking about.
Bisha says he and his comrades weren't welcomed coming home from Vietnam because of the perception of the war. He's happy to see the welcome veterans now receive.
I say it's about time, but I'm glad they're doing it for the younger crowd.
And the Auburn Elks say anyone touched by war can receive a Quilt of Valor in future years. This year, 8 veterans were honored, including a 96-year-old Navy veteran, Ruby. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
Thanks, Chandler. Switching gears now, Hollywood comes to Worcester as film crews take over downtown to shoot a movie starring Liam Neeson. Commercial and Mechanic Streets were shut down earlier today for filming of Honest Thief. According to IMDb, the movie is an action thriller involving a bank robber who tries to turn himself in, but realizes the feds are more corrupt than him. Many spectators were hoping to get a glimpse of Neeson. Some scenes are being filmed in Worcester and Oxford until December. Ahead of World Diabetes Day, a central Massachusetts mother whose son is living with the disease is bringing awareness to it. Laura Ritchie's son Dominic is now 20 but was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 8. She says he stayed home from school with what she thought was just a cold, but when he started heavily breathing, she knew something was wrong and rushed him to the hospital. She says type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease triggered by a virus.
Is the body's immune system is overloaded and it attacks the beta cells in the pancreas. The beta cells are what produces insulin in your body.
Type 1 symptoms can range from extreme thirst and hunger to unconsciousness. For more information, you can visit the American Diabetes Association's website. World Diabetes Day is Wednesday, November 14th. Black Friday shoppers are getting ready to swarm the outlet stores in Wrentham, but there are a few things they need to know. John Maroney has the story.
Continue on Beach Street for 1 mile.
The Wrentham outlets attract massive crowds Black Friday weekend, creating gridlock for people living in nearby neighborhoods.
It's a back road, and we have to sit and wait to get out of our driveway.
Police are stepping up traffic restrictions for the unofficial start of the holiday shopping season.
Head south on Massachusetts 1A South.
There will be only one way in and one way out of the outlets. Exit 15 on Route 495. Wrentham's chief is telling out-of-towners to ignore their GPS.
Then turn left onto Wampum Street
when looking for a route around the congestion.
All of those main routes will be open, but when your GPS tries to get you into a neighborhood, you're going to get shut down.
More than a dozen streets will be open to residents only. There have been closures in the past, but this year, holiday shoppers should expect more blockades and more police.
So you've never been stuck yourself then?
No, you get stuck a little bit, then you say, I should have went the other way.
Neighbors say the strategy seems to be working. The outlets are now 20 years old, so they've become familiar with the traffic patterns.
In 600 feet, you will arrive at your destination.
You kind of learn to live with it and figure out where you can go and when not to go shopping. I never go to the mall on weekends. I always go during the week.
Those street closures and restrictions will take place on Thursday, Thanksgiving, and last right through the weekend. In Wrentham, John Maroney for Worcester News Tonight.
We're learning tonight the co-creator of Marvel Comics, Stan Lee, has died. Lee was 95 years old and has been sick several times over the past year. The list of his achievements is long. He co-created the Fantastic Four before coming up with Spider-Man, Black Panther, the Incredible Hulk, and the Avengers, just to name a few. Stan Lee will always be known for his imagination, inspiration, and his signature dark glasses.